talking about the 4 biomolecules of life. Biomolecules mean life molecules. Bio is a root word that means life, and molecule simply means molecule. Another word you might hear these called is organic compounds. Now, organic compounds must include the element carbon. So, each of these biomolecules that we're going to speak about today is going to include carbon in their makeup. Now, the first biomolecule we're going to talk about today is carbohydrates. Carbohydrates' main function in our body is to bring energy into our body. Now, some examples that you may have in your daily diet of carbohydrates include fruits, vegetables, and grains. Most carbohydrates are made from plants. So, you think, I thought pasta or bread were carbohydrates. You're totally right. But where do we get the grains to make that pasta or bread? From plants. So, carbohydrates include the elements carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Can't forget that carbon. The baby piece, the monomer of a carbohydrate, is a monosaccharide. Mono meaning one, saccharide meaning sugar. Now, the larger piece, the polymer of a carbohydrate, is either a disaccharide, 2 sugars, or a polysaccharide, many sugars. The second biomolecule we're talking about today is lipids. Lipids might more easily be recognized as fats. Now, fats are not the only type of lipids. Lipids also include waxes, steroids, or phospholipids. The main function of lipids in our body is to store energy. So if you ever see someone that has lots of energy storage on their body, right, they have a good fat storage, maybe too large of a fat storage, that means they have lots of energy stored up. Now, is it necessarily good if that energy gets in the way of their organs working? No. But it is good to have some body fat on you, not a lot, but some, to make sure you have some sort of energy store in case you are ever in a crisis. Now, another function of lipids is to provide our cell membrane with some sort of structure, okay? We're going to get to this very soon in biology, don't you worry. You're not missing out on much just yet. Now, a fat, or a lipid, is made up of some certain parts. Let's pretend my hand here is a lipid. Now, my hand here has a backbone right here. We're going to call that the glycerol of this fat. Its 3 little fingers here are called the fatty acids. Alright, so these 3 fatty acids plus the glycerol backbone equals 1 lipid, or 1 fat. Now, we must remember that the elements included in lipids are carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. The same exact elements as are in carbohydrates. They're just put in a slightly different order. Let's move on to our third type of biomolecule today. The third type of biomolecule is a protein. Now, a protein gets a lot of hype out in the world today. I don't remember proteins being that big of a deal back when I was in high school, but guess what? You're a whole new world whenever we're dealing with food now. So proteins are extremely important to our body's makeup. However, I remember from my nutrition class in college, the professor kept going on and on about how in everyday American diets, we get plenty of proteins and we don't necessarily need to supplement it. Like bring in extra protein, maybe in a protein shake or eating crazy amounts of red meat. We don't need to supplement it because we already have enough in our daily diet. We only really need to add that extra stuff if we're like a super athlete and always working out or always testing our muscles. Examples of proteins are meat, eggs, milk, and legumes. Now, most of these proteins are animal products, right? Milk, eggs, and meat are all made by animals. But legumes are grown out of the ground. So we can't necessarily say all proteins are made by animals. Now, the monomer, remember the baby piece of a protein, is called an amino acid. There are 20 different amino acids, and we'll also learn about a whole bunch about this as we go through the year. And then once we add up a chain of those amino acids, we create proteins. Alright, let's move to our fourth kind of biomolecule now. Our fourth kind of biomolecule is called a nucleic acid. Now, a nucleic acid is not something that we'll necessarily go out and try and put into our diet so we can bring them in. Instead, our nucleic acids are actually our DNA in our body. Also in our body, we have RNA and we have ATP, which are kind of remnants or pieces of nucleic acids. So, let's talk those 3. Let me name them really fast. DNA, RNA, ATP, all some kind of example of nucleic acids. The elements involved in nucleic acids are CHONP, CHONP, alright? Carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, and phosphorus. The baby piece, the monomer of a nucleic acid, is called a nucleotide, and once we put a chain together of those nucleotides, we create a whole nucleic acid. Now, if you might be able to guess from the examples that I gave you of nucleic acids, the actual function of those nucleic acids in our body is to store hereditary information, right? Our DNA has the information that makes us us. ATP is like a hugely important form of energy in our body, which is made up of bits of nucleic acids. So, let me get back to my very nutritious dinner here. Thank you for stopping by. I hope you've enjoyed our lesson on biomolecules today. Happy studying!